There you go. The truckers, this is real reporting right here. You know, they just reported Los Angeles port is expecting a drop of 35% drop in cargo from Asia next week. Gene Soroka, the port's executive director, said in a CNBC interview on Tuesday, it's a drop in volume with a number of major American retailers stopping all shipments from China based on tariffs. So it says here, major American retailers have now stopped all shipments from China. That contributes to around 45% of traffic in Los Angeles. What on my trucker? So we're out here at the LA ports, right?
Yeah.
And you know, Reuters and all of these articles are saying, you know, the tariffs and a lot of containers and things are slowing down. Without getting into your company or anything like that, just from what you see, do you see things slowing down?
I see it slowing down for a little bit. It's kind of like how, like in the flatbed industry, you have your slow days, you have your slow days, your fast days. And I think also that once this slows down, it's also going to pick right back up to being normal. That's what it sounds like, what people at the port are thinking from talking to some of the people where we pick up at for the past couple of days.
All right, mother truckers, we're out here, but I'm gonna be honest. Nobody actually wants to talk to us. Right now, we're headed to the Harbor Association, and we're gonna try and get the CEO and president, which represents all these guys out here at the ports, and see what their thoughts about it are. So we're doing some real reporting for y'all here. So thank you, Tristan, for driving, sir.
You're welcome. I am a driver now.
Thank you for being on Mother Trucker News, and I appreciate you. And so please intro yourself, sir.
Sure. Robert Loya, TGS, CTA, and HTA president. Been in trucking now for almost 30 years.
You know, California is such a big part just of America and the trucking industry. And, you know, the tariff talk, and talking about, you know, China's tariffs and big American retailers, they're stopping their containers.
Right.
You know, what does this mean for the American truck drivers, and especially the truck drivers at the ports in California?
It's unfortunate because I get to see it from two angles, right? I get to see it from the port drayage side, which is what our trucking company is, but I also see it from the California trucking side. So you see the other aspects, the last mile, the over the road, the regional carriers, and every company that I've talked to, there's massive layoffs being planned, if not already. Just because of the amount of gates and vessels coming into the ports have dramatically dropped, as you're reading. Next month already, it's been reported that 48 vessels up here Oakland and Long Beach, LA, and Oakland are basically blank sailings, which means that there's not going to be any product coming in. And so as we all have collaborated and talked as a trucking community, it's unfortunate because we have to do what we have to do to maintain costs and make sure that we don't put ourselves out of business. So as a byproduct, drivers don't get to work. It's sad because all we're trying to do is make sure that everybody has a living, right? And make sure that we advocate for them in this tough regulatory environment. So it's unfortunate, but that's where we're headed. And there's a bunch of byproduct that happens because whenever there's vessel sailings blanking. And I'm not sure how much you understand of the port complex, but when COVID hit, when their terminals are shut down, the gates are closed, it's like a checkerboard effect. If you look at all the gates, you have one terminal closed day side, one terminal night side. Steamship lines are not accepting cargo or empties returns. It becomes a big problem. Empty containers are sitting at customers' facilities or our facilities. And once again, stuff's not moving. So drivers can't get paid. But not only that, I mean, we talk about the drivers, but we're also talking about the office staff. And there's a lot of blowback on the office staff because you don't need them if there's nothing coming in. And so there is a lot of layoffs that a lot of the trucking companies that I have been talking to have already implemented or have plans to implement, which is unfortunate, very unfortunate. So
when people are reading these articles, sir,
yep,
there is a lot of truth to this.
100%.
Okay.
100%. I mean, you can go up and down right now. If the gates were open, you would see about half the trucking community just going in lines, and it's ghost town. And typically this time of year, it's not. You know, you're getting ready for summer and then you're getting ready for fall clothing, and so you really don't have a lot of that stuff going on. It's very concerning to the trucking community, just because, you know, we have to do, like I said, and drivers are being laid off or not having no work if you're an independent contractor or licensed motor carrier. So very concerning for us. The executives, everybody who is running companies who have a responsibility to these people who you know, are loyal to us and they contract with us. So it's tough as a trucking company executive that you have to basically, you know, either lay them off or have no work for them, and they can't pay their bills. So you understand the position they're in, because there's always blowback. You may not never see these drivers again. They may go to a different segment, even leave the state. So it's a tough deal.
You know, and the big question for all the American people that be watching this podcast, sir, you know, there's a lot of fear mongering going around about, you know, shelves will be empty, things like that. Is there some truth to that, or do you think that us as Americans will be okay?
You know, to be honest with you, it's the type of product that's either manufactured from China or wherever the hardest hit tariffs countries. But there's a lot of product that is actually manufactured in America, right? Or even Mexico or Canada that will fill the shelves. You know, some of the BCOs that we talked to said that, yeah, they have 30 days to 45 days of inventory in their warehouses or DCs, but it's still concerning. People don't understand how fast that will go. Like, it will go quickly. So we're hoping that there be some kind of reprieve or some kind of agreement that is made with, you know, China and some of these other countries that we're actually having these issues with, right? So yeah, is there a trade imbalance? It depends what side of the table you're on. There may be, there may not be, but you know, if you look at the numbers that are put out there, it's pretty insignificant, and it's pretty significant that there is some differences in how stuff is taxed versus others, right? And there's a tariff. So I would be concerned if it lasts longer than 30 days. I would be definitely concerned you're going to see some shortages on the shelf.
So after 30 days. So if this was a letter to, you know, Secretary of Transportation Sean Duffy, or even if we had an opportunity to talk to, you know, President Trump himself, you know, what would we want, you know, President Trump or, you know, the administration to know about our truck drivers, and what do they need to do to protect our drivers?
Well, at the end of the day, they need to make sure, as depending on what side of the table you're on, you know, they're trying to do the right thing for the country, right? And try to make the economy strong again, make the American dollar strong, and make sure that we have longevity in our jobs. But at the end of the day, is this short-term hurt that he's putting on to us worth it? Who knows, right? There's a lot of pushback depending on what association you talk to, whether it be the ag guys, whether it be the car hauler guys, whoever, the relay guys, the retailer guys. Everyone said there's constant hurt going on in their own segments. So yeah, if I were to be able to talk to them, is that make sure that this is worth it. Make sure that what your end goal is going to actually benefit us in the long run. This short-term pain, it's going to be extremely painful, and we're feeling it now, even though those vessels have not hit yet, or they're not even planned to come. So they really got to understand what they're going to do to the American people, to be honest.
And the last question, and you know, thank you for all your time, sir,
absolutely.
Is, you know, for all the drivers and carriers, small mom and pops in California, right, you know, why should they join, you know, the California Trucking Association or the Harbor Association?
To be honest with you, a lot of these guys don't understand what we do from an advocacy perspective, whether it's at the state level or even here locally in the harbor. We try to reach out as much as we can to advocate for them. They probably benefit more than anything else without even knowing what we do for them, to make sure that they're getting proper turn times at the port. Anything that's going on that's unfair treatment of the trucking community, we fight and advocate for them. You know, we have a seat at the table, and not everyone does, and so we want to make sure that we use our voice to protect all trucking companies, right? Whether it's in the port or whether it's up and down the state. You know, we've had some significant victories up in Sacramento that we're very proud of as the California Trucking Association. So being members of, you're in the know. A lot of truckers that I speak to don't know about what's going on regulatory wise from a car perspective. You know, they were preparing to get, you know, clean green trucks. But, you know, it's only a reprieve. It doesn't mean that it's going to end. You know, there's still a lot of issues that are going to impact us. And so if you're in the know, you're going to be prepared to run your business and run your, you know, to make sure that you always have a successful company. So that's one of the big reasons, right? You get a lot of information, a lot of insight that you normally wouldn't get, or you get secondhanded, and you're talking in the parking lot and you have information that's misinformed. So you come get it from us, and you're actually going to get it from the horse's mouth, the people who are actually advocating on your behalf.
You know, I'll tell all the mother truckers out there, this man really cares. I talked to him, had a small conversation. I would never think that he'd give me this much time, and he says, hey, you know, if you care about truck drivers, then I'll give you some time and I'll talk to you. And I thank you for that.
No,
You're very
absolutely.
humble, sir.
100%. You know, I love what I do. To be honest with you, you can talk to any trucking company, whether it's here at the harbor or in the state. I'll do whatever it takes to make sure that we're represented and advocated for. And I take it very seriously, and I'm very humbled that people find the trust in me to do that, right? I mean, I think my experience, I say this to everybody all the time. I don't know everything. I just share my experiences. And from my experiences, you can do whatever you want to do with that information. Hopefully you learn from it, and then you do your thing, what you think is best for you and your company. But guarantee you some of my experiences you're going to experience, and you've already experienced. So some of the things that we do to counter that is very important, and you'll get it from me.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
they got the right guy, so
Well, I don't know
I
about
appreciate
that.
you, man.